just finished playing the campaign for Black Ops 7, and as you could see from the title and many, many videos online, it was not good. Now, right before Black Ops 7 released, I was a little skeptical bringing back characters from not only one of the greatest Call of Duties of all time, but one of the most iconic games of all time. But seeing the intro as I loaded into the game, I'm not gonna lie, I got a little excited and thought, okay, what do we have in store? Then I saw the memes and played for myself, and well,
my disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
yeah, this is the worst campaign I think I've ever played in my entire life. Now, for those of you who don't know, I've been playing Call of Duty since World at War. So I was 7 when World at War came out, and I fell in love with the campaign. Every time that I got a new Call of Duty, the first thing I would do is load into the campaign to see what it had in store for us. And for the most part, especially during the Golden Era, I was always left satisfied. Especially with the golden era of Call of Duty, where you had the original Modern Warfare trilogy, which I always saw similar to the original Star Wars trilogy, with COD 4 Modern Warfare being A New Hope, that it, brought in these new characters that everyone fell in love with, that revolutionized Call of Duty. Modern Warfare 2 being the Empire Strikes Back, where it brought back the original crew and the world, and not only that, it expanded upon it and made it better. Then you have Modern Warfare 3 being Return of the Jedi, where there was a satisfying ending, and for some people it might be their favorite, but not quite as good as the first two. Then you have Treyarch with World at War, Black Ops 1, and Black Ops 2, being incredible stories of Alex Mason, Frank Woods, and Reznov, and David Mason, and the horrors of World War II, the Cold War, the Vietnam War, and how Mason's and Woods' past affect Mason's kids' present life, and how an all-out Cold War is inciting in 2025. Even after the Golden Era, you still got some really solid campaigns with Infinite Warfare, Modern Warfare 2019, World War II, and even Cold War, which was Black Ops 5, and was really good, and again, expanded upon the original Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2. Now, when going over this, I do want to talk about the good and the bad and try to be as objective as possible and not just be ranting for 20 minutes on why this game sucks. I'm going to go over the good first because there's not a lot of good. Now, when I talk about the things that I like, it doesn't mean that it was executed properly. I just believe that these were good ideas or interesting plot points. Now, let's get into the good. Number 1 is the Rage Inducer, similar to Black Ops 1 with the Nova gas, and even the first Kingsman movie, if you've seen it, where there's a new gas or there's a new chemical and they try to infect everyone. And the more angry and upset you get, the worse that the drug takes effect. Now, the guild is trying to make billions of dollars. They're trying to be the supplier and the demander so that they can make a lot more money and so they can use it for your protection. I think was a really interesting concept, which leads me to my second point. Having each character to have to face their own fears or deal with PTSD or their own trauma, similar to Thunderbolts with Bob having to deal with mental health struggles, if executed properly, I think could have been phenomenally well done. Unfortunately, I don't think it was. I think that David Mason having fears and trauma from his father dying, the person that he views as a father figure being Frank Woods, killing his actual father, Menendez capturing him, Woods' horror stories about him being captured, and the reason why Menendez is out for revenge because he killed his sister. Not that it was entirely Frank's fault, but it certainly played a factor. Harper having trust issues because during the peak and intensity of the Second Cold War, the good guys being JSOC had a mole with Salazar, someone that was with us from the beginning, and him not being able to trust his own crew with 50-50 Samuels and David Mason. Samuel having to relive the events from 2025 and 50-50 having to deal with her past from a year and a half ago. All really good stories to tell, again, just wasn't executed properly. Number 3 is bringing back co-op campaign. Co-op campaign used to be a thing for almost every Call of Duty, I think, until Cold War. And so bringing back campaign where you can play with your friends was really fun, and I'm glad they brought it back and hope that they can bring it back for the future. Number 4, Emma Kagan. I thought from the intro that she could have been a great villain. Emphasis on the could have. It's like Henry Cavill or Andrew Garfield when you see them in Superman or The Amazing Spider-Man and think, oh wow, those are great characters and play the characters so well. But it's too bad the movies aren't as good as the actors playing the characters in the movie. That's how I see Emma. She was an interesting antagonist, and I thought that she could have done a lot more with this character, but she was barely in it. But more on that later. Number 5 is the abilities around the map. You can pick up special abilities, and I loved the grappling hook. That was my favorite special ability to use. I was constantly spamming that bitch, and anytime I had to use that ability, I did. It made going around the map very easy and fun, and getting out of very sticky situations. Also, the wingsuit, very fun to use. If you had the jumping ability, you could use it to fast travel around the map. I wish that there were more times that you could have done this. And number 6, the last mission had Mason coming out of the water, similar to his father in Black Ops 1 when he killed Dragovich. I did not know if anyone got that correlation, but it was still very cool, and I like the idea of the Vorkuta mission, but unfortunately, that's all the good things I have to say about the campaign. Now, let's get into what I didn't like about the campaign, and this genuinely hurts me deep down. I have a lot of talking points, and there were so many talking points that I actually had to jot them down, so every time that I'm not looking at the mic, I'm looking at my screen, just so you guys know. Number 1, this is probably the biggest thing, is that these characters have been ruined. Now, when I say ruined, I'm not saying that they are bad characters, but these characters are so iconic, and every person who has played Call of Duty knows the name Frank Woods. They know the name Alex Mason, David Mason, Reznov, Hudson, Weaver, and Bowman. These characters have been built up so well in this world and have such deep and interesting backstories that make you care for the characters in Black Ops 1. David Mason was brainwashed by multiple people for him to carry out their missions. The mission Vorkuta is about Mason reliving his past and how him and his friend Reznov being captured and breaking out of a prison riot. Mission 12, Payback, where Frank Woods and David Mason playing Russian roulette and having to escape from Spetsnaz operators right after Bowman was brutally murdered. These missions made you care about the characters. It made you care that Bowman died because it realized how high the stakes were, and it brought empathy to these characters because they were so upset of their friends dying. And it made you think, could you be next? Could my character be the character that dies? The next scene, where the entire time you believe that Mason and Reznov are on a mission to kill Dragovich, Steiner, Kravchenko, but it turns out that Mason, the entire time, was the one killing these people, that Reznov was never in the rat tunnel. He died in Vorkuta during the escape, that Mason was brainwashed a second time from Dragovich to kill Kennedy, to then being assigned to kill those 3 villains. Each mission gave you reason to stay engaged and keep playing because you wanted to know what was going to happen next. You wanted to remember too, just like Alex Mason. To this day, it is a phenomenal masterpiece and so beautifully told. In Black Ops 2, when Frank Woods was captured and was put in that shipping container with rotting corpses of his best friends, it gave you empathy for that character that has gone through so much torture and pain, and you knew that Frank Woods would lose his cool when he saw Menendez, a character that you hated so much, but you still had a small amount of empathy for because of Frank Woods throwing that grenade and Mason tackling him to the ground, changing the trajectory, and fatally killing Raul Menendez's sister. It gave him a reason to continue to torture Woods and continue his mission. When he tricked Woods into killing his best friend, it was shocking and heartbreaking because you care so much about these characters, and when you go back and replay it, you purposely shoot at Mason's feet so you can save his life. No character was safe. The characters that you grew to love, you wanted to do everything in your power to save them. You had multiple outcomes of what could happen. You could save Harper, you could save Mason, you could save Chloe, you could kill or you could spare Menendez. There was so much that you could do in those games, and it told a story that made everyone enjoy and made you feel like your choices had consequences. With Black Ops 7, there is no character development and there is no depth. David Mason is really the only character that experiences some sort of character development along with Harper. He deals with the guilt and trauma he left when he killed Menendez and makes amends with his father. Harper is barely in it. As for the other characters, there's no reason for me to care for them. I played one mission as Razor, and now he is the traitor. It just felt so rushed and cliche. It didn't make me care that he was the traitor at all. When Salazar was the traitor, it was shocking. He was with you since the first mission. He made you trust him. He made you believe that he was on your side. So when it was revealed that he was the mole, it was heartbreaking. Which leads me to my next point. Number 2, no helpful AI bots. Who remembers this scene from Black Ops 1?
Medic! That young kid didn't make it. I swear to God that Woods was crying. But he never let us see no tears.
And who remembers this scene from World at War?
No! Sullivan, no! Hold on, you're gonna be okay! Corman!
This game made you felt like you were in their world, even the characters that you didn't even know you cared for. It gave depth to those characters. In Black Ops 7, I am all alone. I played this campaign solo, and it was just me, myself, and I, solo ride until I die, because I got me for life. This world just felt so empty. It wasn't fun to play these missions because it felt like there were no stakes. If I died, I just restarted, which brings me to number 3. Not being able to pause and having no checkpoint. What campaign doesn't let you pause? If I wanted to go to the bathroom, I better hold it. If I wanted to get some food, I'm going to go hungry. I couldn't pause the game, and if you did, and if you stayed away for too long, you got booted out. Why is a campaign online? I get if you're online and you're playing with your friends, but if you're playing solo, you should have the option to be offline. I remember back in Advanced Warfare for Zombies, you weren't able to pause the game, and people hated that. Why did you bring that feature back? It's a very basic feature that I feel like it shouldn't have been left out in the first place. And I know they could do it again because they were able to do it with the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 and every game before it. Number 4 is Emma Kagan. I know I had her in the best parts about the campaign, but that is her as a character. I thought that she would have been great, like I said earlier, but as the main antagonist, she was barely in it. I swear, it felt like she was at the very beginning and very end, and everything in between was just her talking on the radio with Mason and the rest of the crew. Why should she feel like a real threat if we never see her? And even in the trailer, she wasn't in it too much. I mean, she was showing David Mason around, but she never even felt like she was the main antagonist from the marketing campaign and from the real campaign. I mean, you have guys like me thinking, oh my god, I can fix her, but if you just developed more of a story with her, and if you developed an actual arc with her, I'm sure the rest of the fan base would fall in line too. But just like the story, it was very hollow, and there was no real depth to any characters. I swear, it felt like ChatGPT was in charge of the script because it was like, oh my god, a big company wants money, they're gonna cause a disease to show everyone how dangerous the world is so that they buy their product. It was so painfully basic, but once they had David and Emma in the same room, I'm not gonna lie, that was probably the most engaged I was throughout the entire story. When Emma was using David's fears on Menendez and his father actually made me enjoy the story for that limited time. The very ending where Emma and Mason were talking and she was saying how he thinks that he is a hero, but he just lurks in the shadows, and after the death of Menendez, now she's been picking up the pieces. It was really engaging, but why? Why was she picking up the pieces? Why does she think that David Mason is the villain? Why does she have a vendetta against JSEC? Why is the world in shambles after he killed Menendez? A very classic case of show, don't tell. Show me why David was wrong in killing Menendez. Show me how David screwed up. Let there be some dilemma. Let there be some controversy of why Emma is right. Number 5 is the return of Raul Menendez. When the trailer came out in June, I was very optimistic, but the problem, well, one of many. He wasn't in it. He was a fiction of David's fears, and worst of all, it was a deep fake video. They said that Menendez was fake. One, if it was any case real, they're sending 4 people to investigate to see if Raul Menendez is alive? Bullshit. That man was trying to inflict anarchy and a second Cold War on the world. And people would be taking sides. The stakes would be so much higher. It wouldn't be, oh no, it's okay. David and his team is going to see what all the hullabaloo is about. You marketed Menendez as still being alive and going to be the main antagonist in Black Ops 7, but he was not in it. He was in the first mission, and he was in the last mission, with Emma Kagan taking over David's mind. In Batman Arkham Knight, Joker was a figment of Batman's imagination, and only he could see the Joker, which is a great story and could have been great if only David could see Raul Menendez. and he had to deal with the burden of killing Menendez, that he could not move on with what he did, or him questioning if he made the right decision or not, which leads me to number 6. The consequences to what happened in Black Ops 2 doesn't matter. If you shot Harper, no you didn't. Fareed did. If you tried to save David, no, you domed him. If you tried to save Raul Menendez, no, you domed him. I like that Harper was alive, and it hurts me to say, but I'm okay with having the death of Alex Mason be canon. But it really reminds me of the Joker, where I was really disappointed when I heard that they were making a Joker 2. Even before the movie came out, what I loved about Joker 1 is that it was all up to interpretation. You did not know if the events were real or not. You did not know if they were all in his head, if they already happened, or if they were going to happen in the future. There were so many theories about what was real and what wasn't real. And that's what made Joker 1 so compelling with Joaquin Phoenix. When Joker said, you didn't know if that was taking place all in his head, or if those were events that have already happened, or if they were events happening in the future. There were so many theories on whether or not what was real and what wasn't real. Now with Joker 2, you knew that all those events were real. So with Black Ops 7, you knew that all these events that in Black Ops 2, whether the consequences you had to deal with, it doesn't matter, because all these actions have already been made for you. Number 7 is zombies and parasites. Why does a Rage Inducer turn people into zombies? Why is it that I'm fighting an Elder Disciple in a campaign that doesn't make any sense? Why are there vermin and parasites running around a shipping container with woods? It would be so much better if you were playing Berkuda with actual inmates instead of zombies. And when you were breaking out, it was actual prison guards, like how it was in the original Black Ops 1 campaign. It would be so much fun if there was Reznov as a little fun side Easter egg. If I wanted to play zombies, I would play the zombies mode. I am playing the campaign for a somewhat grounded, fun, emotional, interesting experience. Not half zombies, half people. Number 8 is it doesn't feel like the stakes are high enough. Is it me, or is this the first Call of Duty where you feel like this doesn't feel like an actual war? You are fighting a company that is going to inflict a lot of pain on a lot of people. I really felt that way when I was on a mission where I had to capture Dr. Falnick, or whatever his name is. I know the scene, I just can't remember his name, and I don't care to remember it. But I thought to myself, am I even going to war? Am I even at war? Or am I just stopping a bad company? And that's another reason why I feel like the game lost the plot. It doesn't feel like an actual war. It doesn't feel like the stakes are that high. It's not World War III where there's a whole war going on and you have all these AI bots helping you. It's just 4 people versus this entire company. Number 9 is the boss fights. I am so done with the boss fights being in the campaign. I love them in zombies. They're great Easter eggs to have, and I'm so glad they added them 10 years ago. But you don't need to have it in a campaign. I know everyone is talking about the Skibbity Toilet Harper boss fight. To me, it really didn't feel like that. It felt like Lego Marvel The Avengers with Galactus being on top of the ship. That's what it felt like to me. You don't need to have a boss fight to tell a good story. We don't need to fight woods with zombies and parasites and vermin. You don't need to have a boss fight with Razor. In Black Ops 2, you shot Salazar, and that was very gratifying. You had a choice to shoot Menendez at the very end of the campaign. It felt like a cinematic masterpiece when you were going down the rubble and you grab Menendez and you stab him and then you have the gun to his head. You choked out Dragovich in Black Ops 1 and you were screaming at him saying you
Tried to turn me against my own. Tried to make me kill my own president. Tried.
It was so good. You had another cinematic masterpiece where you take out the knife out of your stomach and throw it at Shepard, hitting him in the eye. You had a satisfying conclusion, wrapping the cord around Makarov's neck and breaking through the glass. You can still have those cinematic, classic scenes without having to have a boss fight. Leave them out of the game. Number 10 is a justifiable nitpick in my opinion, but that's not being able to pick up guns off the ground. I am not proud of this, but in World War I, I may or may not have shot my own teammates to get the PPSH, allegedly. If I wanted their gun, I would take it. I hate that I cannot pick up guns from my dead enemies, or even my teammates. You could pick up their ammo, which is very nice, but not their guns. You would have to go to a weapon cache or see them lying around. Just let me pick up the dead enemy's guns. It's not that hard to put in the game. It makes the game feel that much more fun. It makes it feel like the game you are actually playing is an actual war. Number 11, I feel like so many of these points are so justifiable and at the top of my list, but this is such a big one. The self-revives and the armor plates. We have been asking you to remove them from zombies, and you add them into a campaign. I hated having to fall back and waiting for my health to regenerate, and then having to put in 4, 5, 6 plates. It made no sense. Why do you keep adding plates? Why do you keep adding Warzone features into your different modes? Get rid of it. If I die, I die. Don't make me self-revive and have to run around the map making me look for armor plates and another self-revive. I am okay with enemies having some armor plates being a little bit bulkier, which leads me into number 12. Why is every enemy 20 shots to kill? Why do I have a 100-round mag? I kill 5 enemies, and then I'm already out of ammo. I feel like the way it's always been in every single Call of Duty campaign is you shoot someone a few times, and then you move on to the next person. You shoot 6 or 7 people, and then you reload with the standard mag. There was one time that I played at the very end of the mission where nothing loaded in yet, and it took a couple shots to shoot everyone, and I was so happy. And then everything loaded into the screen, and it took, again, 10 shots to kill everyone, and I was very disappointed again. I know that this was a very long rant, but man, this campaign broke my spirit. And I could keep going on, but this video would be over an hour long. These are my main talking points that I at least wanted to address and get off my chest. And hopefully, if Activision or Treyarch hears this, please go back to the old system. No more armor plates, no more self-revives, no more boss fights. Just tell a good, compelling, grounded story. Maybe you jump the shark a little bit with World War III. Maybe you jump the shark a little bit with Cold War. But don't make me have to do more zombie boss fight elder disciple kills. I remember when I would get Call of Duty, the first thing I would do is play the campaign. Now I am very skeptical over the past few years. I have not played Black Ops 6 and I have not played Modern Warfare 3 because I've heard that it was very mid, it was very short, and it was very boring. And I know the title says that I will never play another Call of Duty campaign again, and that's partially true unless I hear how great the campaign is and how it feels like they've gone back to the basics where they've told, like I said, a good, compelling story. I am done, which is really unfortunate because I feel like I'm losing a part of my childhood. But I would rather use my time somewhere else. With this much pushback, they have got to hear it. And we are so upset because we are so passionate about these projects and these kinds of things. We want to see it handled correctly. We know that they could do it because they have done it in the past. It's just a matter of having passion and an actual story to tell. One of my buddies was talking about how he was turned off from the campaign and he didn't want to buy the game because of it. And I know Penguin's video is making people stray away from the game even more. So this is a message for Call of Duty: do better.